The sexy icons of 90s, the sexiest frontmen of the 90's, Billy Corgan, the smashing Pumpinks, number 10.
From Grohl when you're ready. Go ahead and roll. You guys all set? Okay. So we're going to talk first about Lollapalooza, if that's okay. How do you feel about it? This is your first time in the tour, right? In Lollapalooza. Can you talk about that? How it feels to be in that for the first time? Are you looking forward to it?
We've always wanted to do Lollapalooza, but we just never felt the timing was right or the circumstances were right. It wasn't like we were always waiting, let's wait till we're the headliners or something. We were plenty prepared not to be, but I don't know. We're excited. It's just, we've just been touring for 10 months. It's hard to think about more touring.
Have you ever been to Lollapalooza shows before, just as an audience?
No, because most of the times when Lollapalooza's been, like in Chicago, we've been on tour, and we had actually other members of the band went the first year because we ran into Jane's Addiction and they invited us to go, but I was so completely out of my mind at the time. I flew home and everyone stayed, so I've never gone. I just had an opinion of it just from everything that I'd heard, and maybe that was better. Because if I had gone, I would have been backstage and not had any kind of sense of the shows. So I've always just heard about it from kids that I meet and stuff.
So we heard something about the main stage bands having something to do with recommending the other acts that were going to be in Lollapalooza. Did you guys have anything to do with that? Or what did you heard about the Fillmore before being asked to play? Or did you know anything about it?
Just that it's like this very historic kind of, it's where all this, the 60s kind of psychedelic San Francisco, culture grew up, and this is always the place that's associated with it. So, I've read my Jimi Hendrix books, so that's it. That's about as far as it goes.
So, does it mean anything in particular to you to be on stage where Hendrix and Janis and all those people?
Well, I seriously doubt it's the same stage. I put it this way. I can remember being about 22 years old and going.
Dave Grohl, Foo Fighters, number 9.
That's one other thing I wanted to ask. Are they coming here? Oh, yeah. Okay.
I'm rolling again, and
Can I borrow this matching pack?
No.
Thank you. I guess the one criticism that Steve Albini gets for the records he produced, and it's strange because all the big black records and the Rape Man records,
with his
the
vocals
are way up there.
Right.
And then, especially with, not so much with your record, I don't think I've heard anything like this, but the PJ Harvey record and some of the things that he's done, he gets criticized because they're so down low and everything.
Right. I think the thing with Steve and vocals is that he doesn't like the sound of, when you listen to a recording of a band and you have two speakers and there's this great rock music going on and then there's this voice like right in the middle and right in your face. I think that's what he doesn't like. He'd rather make it sound like a real band and someone singing into a microphone and playing. And, I don't know.
I think he always, there's never any effects on any vocals or anything he does either.
There's really never any effects on much. There weren't, when we recorded with him, there's no effects on the drums. The only effect is a room mic. Like most of the stuff he does is the.
Gavin Rossdale, Bush, number 8.
Hi, I'm Gavin from Bush, and you're going to check us out on The Hang. So, hang out with us. See ya. Yeah, when our guitarist got arrested. And off he goes now. Yeah, I guess with K-Rock and being played, Kevin Weatherly, that was a big turning point because we got on the radio, and that's what started off in last November with Everything's End. So that was a real turning point because we'd already had a couple of months. We'd finished the album, then we'd gone back doing our respective jobs to pay rent and whatever. And we had originally had a deal with the distributor was Hollywood Records, owned by Disney, which is the only drawback to the deal because they were just like the most dumb, pig, ignorant record label ever. They received 16 Stone and they said that not only did they not like any of the songs on there, but they didn't think that it was a record. You know, it didn't constitute a record. And it was like, thank God, because I would have been really worried if they thought it was good, you know. So we weren't in that deal, and so for about 4 months we didn't even know if the record would come out. Whilst they looked, and then along came Interscope and Ted Field and Jimmy Iovine, and here we are now.
Brandon Boyd, Incubus, number 7.
Then we're into Metallica and Iron Maiden and stuff like that. This was around 1991. And then we started getting into this Mr. Bungle album and hearing what you could do with like hard music and funk and like ska and stuff like that. And so the first song we wrote was called Lovesick, and it was just this really, really bad, cheesy like funk metal something or other, you know. I think it was sort of in the vein of the Mr. Bungle thing, but our version was really terrible. But you could kind of see what, you know, what we had going. We actually did it, and we recorded it on video for an English project for 10th grade, and we have it on video, but I think we burned it.
Lenny Kravitz, number 6.
You could turn that out with a guitar solo in the middle. Bust it up, man. You got it. Bust it up, brother. Yes. Now, you have a pet snake, right?
Yeah.
Did that come from Michael? I mean, was that an influence?
No, man, I always loved reptiles. When I went to camp, I brought a snake home, snuck it in, and always been into it.
Yeah. And you're into fashion, man. You know? Always got, you know, every time I read something about you, or every time you're even here, we talk about nose rings and fashion and stuff. But what would you like interviewers to ask you? What would you like to even be known for as an artist?
Not so much what I'd like people to ask me, but people spend so much time talking about my clothes and my looks since I have changed the whole world with fashion. Myself and Ariane Phillips, who is my partner. But the thing people don't focus on is my message, and that's more important than my trousers.
You know? And whether you're wearing underwear or something retarded like that.
You know, it's just, you know, I sing about God, and I sing about love, and I sing about togetherness, and I sing about life, and people would rather focus on my clothing. And I started to realize lately, I said, well, what, you know, do people think I'm dangerous or something, you know, because it's like people don't want to hear about positivity, you know. But the people that come to see me know, and, you know, we have a great time. My concerts are really spiritual, and it's not just me, it's the audience. It's a thing that we do together, and it's really beautiful, and I thank everybody for there's a lot of beautiful young people out there, you know. There's a lot of beautiful, young, positive people out there.
Liam Gallagher, number 5.
So I went into football and just running around people's back gardens and just being a little. And then he started bringing on records, and then that's it. I just got into it. Then I started singing, and I thought, well, I've had a bit of that.
But what about like when there must have, you say about being into football? There must have been a point when you started to attach yourself to something that was going on. Like, I mean, probably
football clothes.
Yeah, but probably for when you were a teenager, it was like electro and things like that. Were you getting into like hip hop and things?
Yeah,
like
I was into a bit of hip hop. Not that much. I was just into being I was just into hanging about on the streets, basically.
Yeah, but on that.
I was a hooker. I was a hooker when I was 15. Come on.
What about
Chris Cornell, Soundgarden, number 4.
A lot. I mean, you know, record after record. When you break into a new market, I mean, we may have been an alternative band for 5 or 6 or 7 years.
Before it was fashionable.
Yeah, exactly. And then, you know, all of a sudden, you know, a new medium sort of will embrace you and sort of say, here's a new band. And you kind of just have to bear with it because it is new to them.
There was too many bad rock bands out there that were a little too popular. And there were some good trends like Jane's Addiction getting real popular, and then Faith No More. And now, of course, you know, Nirvana getting real popular. It proves that there's a crowd out there that's into, you know, different styles instead of just what's shoved down their throat by radio and MTV.
Right now, we're going to go over to our correspondent John Sutherland out there on the west coast of America and find out what's happening in LA Stories. Now, talking to Chris and Matt earlier about LA, you seem to think that the Seattle scene is starting to develop something of a tendency of what happened in LA in the past. Is that right?
Well, yeah. There's sort of like a lot of people moving there from other cities in the U.S., to start a band because there's so many bands that are successful out of there. And there's also like a lot of young bands starting out that are thinking about trying to get a record deal more than thinking about like trying to have fun playing music or writing songs, which seems like it'll eventually be the poison that'll kill the Seattle scene.
So what about Outshine, the new video which we're just going to have a look at in a minute? I haven't actually seen it, I must confess, so you have to give me the big scoop on it.
Okay, I'll tell you what, it may be one of two versions that we made, because we made two different versions with two different directors, and I don't know which one you're going to show, and I know that you don't either, so...
So we're all in the dark here, and I'm pretty excited to find out what's going to happen. This is Soundgarden, and this is Outshine. Oh, it's been a pleasure talking to you anyway.
Thanks, man.
Great to have you down. Nice to see you, man.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you, Chris. And it's time we went and checked out the last track from the live band tonight. This is The Untouchables.
Eddie Vedder, Pearl Jam, number 3.
It's really because we're kind of busy with other things, and we've been involved making some other music and even playing, so it takes time to do a video and to do one right, and I mean, I didn't think of no acceptance speech or anything. That was probably obvious. But at the MTV Awards, we won, greatest video in the world or something, and I should have really just said right then what I was feeling, and that was like, wow, I guess we don't have to do any more of these, because where do you go from there? I wouldn't want any song to be just overplayed. But see, if they played like Blood over and over, I wouldn't mind that as much for some reason. There's just more energy or anger. I relate to a song like that as much as even some of the slower ones. But I'd rather listen to that one more. That's the one I would put on more often. But as it is, they'll play like a Tad song, and then I'll be listening to the radio, and then they'll play another cool Nirvana song or something, and then Soundgarden, and then they'll play our song. It'll be like the Small Town song, the slow one. It just makes me really mad, because it's really not that representative of the record, and then you get worried that all those 40-year-olds that are going to come to the show are going to get hurt in the pit and stuff, Generally, they actually handle themselves pretty well.
Robbie Williams, number 2.
Mr. Robbie Williams. Welcome to our show.
It's like Take That, but it's like Top of the Pops, but grown up here, isn't it?
That's exactly right. I suppose it is like
Top
that.
of the Pops with pubes.
The pubes, yes. I do an inspection of all the audience before they come in, you know that.
You must.
Yes.
I'm like that with my house.
And sometimes the bands as well.
Yes.
Now, you started with the song Strong from your I've Been Expecting You record.
Mm-hmm.
What is that song about?
I was on tour last year, and the ticket sales weren't going very well, and nobody was buying the album. That was last year, of course. And I was down. I was really down, and loads of people wanted lots of stuff from me, and I couldn't give it to them. And I just went, listen, I'm not being a dickhead, but I'm not feeling very well now. And that's what Strong was about. You think I'm strong, but you're wrong.
But now things couldn't be going better. You've sold out 3 Wembleys or something. The ticket sales and records have exploded, haven't they?
Yeah.
That must be really hard.
It is, for someone like me to take that on board. I never meant to sell out.
Let me start. Can I go straight back to the beginning? What was the first sort of music that you listened to and you thought, hey, I want to make music? What's the first things that you liked?
Well, my mother, who's over there, she used to have Nat King Cole records, and Sarah Vaughan, Ella Fitzgerald, Cole Porter stuff, and that's what I listened to first, and also Tom Jones, Frank Sinatra. And then I got into hip-hop when I was about 10. Started collecting all the electro albums and stuff like that. So I missed everything for a few years. Then I was seriously into Dr. Hook, just couldn't get it out of my system. You know, it was like on the cover of the Rolling Stones that did it for me.
Yeah.
That first song just blew my mind, and that's what made me join a boy band.
So let me take you to this. How did you join Take That? How did you join?
It was a fluke. I got the wrong bus.
Where did you think? What did you answer an advert? What happened?
Yeah, I did. There was an advert in some local radio station, and I went along and thought, I'll do that, and I did.
And was it enjoyable? Looking back?
No, it was shit. No, I can't say it was. We did, you know, it's put me where I am today. So, you know, there was a lot of good stuff in there. We had a lot of laughs and stuff. So, yeah, it was.
Like Glastonbury, that you did that, and that was a huge. Like everybody was singing along to Angels.
Yeah,
that must have been nice.
It was quite amazing because like 2 minutes before I was going on, I was going, "It's 80,000 people out there." You know, I used to be in a boy band, and the odd 30,000 may hate me. You know, and I was so scared. But I got up on stage and did Let Me Entertain You, and everybody went mad, and you know, it was the highlight of my career so far. Apart from doing your show, of course, Jules.
It was exactly.
Being here.
And looking forward to the New Year's Eve show.
Yeah.
Mind you, that'll be next year.
Yeah.
But now, of course, you write your songs with Guy Chambers. Here's actually Angels here on a board, rather nicely. Who writes what when you're writing?
I wrote that bit.
Angels.
Yeah.
The very nice, most important bits, a bit we all remember.
Yeah. But I write all the words, most of the melodies and some of the music, but he wrote all the music on that one, and I wrote the words.
Does it always work? Like some songwriters do work like that, just music and words. Does it normally work like that, your lyricist, would you say?
Yeah, well, I get something in my head and I sing, or I come in and go, I've got this riff, and it goes, wah, like that. Apart from it wouldn't go, it'd be better than that. Yeah. My riffs normally are. And then he copies it for me, and we do it like that.
Now, later on in the show, you're going to do Karma Killer for us. What's that?
Yes.
Oh, yes. What's that song all about?
It's about somebody I don't like.
Who are?
Yeah, it's more that than that, actually. That's I like you. That's all prick.
Is it?
Yeah, and it's about my ex-manager. Hi, Nige, it's me. I'm doing really well. Really nice to see you. Sold loads of records, doing really well for myself. I'm worth a fortune. Sorry, Ian.
It's really good to have you on. I want to ask one thing. I want to ask Ian a question. Ian, what's your view of Robbie? Oh, nice.
Ian.
He likes you, see?
Oh, yeah.
Right, can I move along? No, I'm going to move along. I'm sorry anyway.
Kurt Cobain, Nirvana, #1.
We were delayed for about 4 more hours because there were so many people coming from East Berlin into West Germany. So we pretty much just experienced it on the highway, and that's it. We didn't get to see the wall. We didn't get to see anything but the venue that night when we played. But there was a lot of good feeling in the air, a lot of good atmosphere.
Right now, Seattle is a real well-known music scene. What makes it so hot?
I think because there happens to be a lot of good bands coming out of Seattle right now. A lot of good bands. And it's just by chance, I guess. It's luck, I don't know.
There's Mudhoney, there's Tad, there's Soundgarden. There's so many bands out there. It's really special, and it's odd. It's just all these bands in the right place at the right time.
What advice would you give to someone who's just starting out or wants to have a musical career?
Just keep practicing and don't give up. Just never give up. Play as often as you can and be really dedicated and try to write good music, and don't worry about the material ethics that go with music. It doesn't matter what you look like or anything. It doesn't matter what your product looks like. It's what it sounds like.
Thank you for watching. Like, comment and subscribe.